being in the spa, it would take me 3 or 4 days to make what I make in 3 or 4 hours doing jewelry. I cannot say that enough. This industry just keeps continuing to blow my mind. I own Amber Bud Atelier. It's a skincare spa in Burnsville, Minnesota, just south of Minneapolis. And I added permanent jewelry because I had been designing jewelry with a master jeweler for about 3 years prior. And, Instagram picks up, hey, this girl likes jewelry, and started showing me your videos and marketing and things. And I went, well, that looks cool. And one day bought a welder, and here we are. It took me a few months to kind of get into it, not because I didn't want to, but because of just life circumstances. It was the holidays, it was new employees, things like that. But in June, I started doing pop-ups and have been just killing it there. So yeah, we've done some pop-ups that turned into people asking to have us do events at their homes, things like that. I was really impressed with you and the way that you taught. I thought that was really an important missing piece for me because I wasn't actually sure how to go about booking pop-ups. So I thought, okay, I'm going to just join this thing. I'll learn, if nothing else, I'll learn some marketing tips for the spa. Turns out it was so beneficial, not just simply for the marketing, but also for the community. The people are so friendly, so helpful. I did my first outdoor pop-up and posted like 2 days beforehand. I'm like, guys, what am I forgetting? This is what I have. And people sent me lists. They sent me links of things that they used, things that they loved, things that they wouldn't recommend. It's just a really helpful environment. The biggest thing I've learned is buy more chain than you think. I know everybody says that, but I was totally that person that was like, no, it's going to be fine. No, buy more than you think. Keep track of what you sell. So that you know what was the most popular, then you know what to repurchase. I have maybe 20 chains at any given time, 20 to 30 chains, but there's consistently 10 that I sell out of. So those are the ones to repurchase a lot of. The other thing when I was starting doing pop-ups, I started doing like, oh, the staff can have a free bracelet, because when customers go, what's happening over there? The staff can show them like, oh, it's, this permanent jewelry thing, and shows them their bracelet, and it's awesome. And then I went to a winery and didn't know how big the staff was, and ended up giving away, I think I figured out at the end, it was like 32 bracelets. And that is a lot. And they were calling their friends who weren't even working that night saying, hey, she said that staff gets a free bracelet. And I was like, no. So lesson learned, don't do that. Figure out the size of the staff, and maybe have a tier system. Like if there's 3 or 5 people, maybe give them away. If it's 30 people, just do a discount for the staff. Oh, another thing I would say is definitely bring an assistant, because I have had times where I'm busy welding. I don't have time to explain the process or check people out or anything. So if you can have an assistant, bring an assistant. It is worth the $20 to pay them per hour, or whatever it is in your area. Pay them $20 an hour when you're making $500 an hour. $20, this is a drop in the bucket. So I set up at 2 different tables. I have a table for the assistant, and then I have my workspace. And I set it up so it's basically like assembly line. So they're at one end and they're like, okay, explain the chains, tell them this is the gold filled, and this is silver, and this is gold. And we have the printout from Linked that shows the different like chain styles or metal styles, I guess. And this is why this matters. This is why we don't carry these other types. And then we have ours on like little earring hooks. So we tell people like, you can take these off. The chains we sell are over there with the welder, and you can take this off and you can layer them on, and we drape like 1 or 2 at a time. And then always ask if they want charms. Like if they're like, oh, these 2, I like these 2. Great. What charms are you adding? And if they say, I don't think I want charms. Okay, no problem. They just bought 2 bracelets. Who cares? But if they say, oh, I didn't know there was charms. Oh yeah, those are all over here. Take a look over here. So then they're looking at charms. They're busy their whole way that they're making them their way to me. They get to me, they've filled out their waiver. I've written the charm and chain down at the bottom of it, so I know what I'm welding on them. Do my cut, do my weld, and then they finish up by going back and paying at the end. The incredibly welcoming nature of everybody that is in the group. I know I've heard other people say that, but I cannot stress it enough because I am somebody who is very skeptical of those kind of things. And it really is. Everybody is so helpful. People will give you recommendations, tell you what they've used, what they didn't like, what they love. People will send you pictures of their setups. And then if you're like, oh my gosh, I love that, can you tell me where you got it? Nobody's like, don't copy me. They're like, yes, here you go. Here's the link. Go get it. You know, everybody is really, I think it's a really cool environment because everybody is clearly proud of what they're doing, but also really willing to help others. On top of that, I can't stress enough, pay attention to the marketing, use the tools that are given. Like you guys have done a killer job with that. And the videos, especially the new ones, are wild. They're so good. They're so detailed. For people that don't know how to work with a jump ring, that don't know how to use a welder, I knew how to do those things because I had already been working with a jeweler. But being able to watch the videos and even go back and go, okay, that one isn't working right. Learning the right terminology, everything. It's just an invaluable resource that just continues to get better. The biggest difference is time. Like being in the spa, it would take me 3 or 4 days to make what I make in 3 or 4 hours doing jewelry. It's wild. Wow. Like I cannot say that enough. This industry just keeps continuing to blow my mind. As an example, I did 2 events one week. One was 3 hours, one was 4 hours. Both of them one was 2,200, one was 2,400 in that time frame. I could not have done that without an assistant there because I needed somebody to keep moving people through. But the time, I mean, I spent 7 hours and made $4,500 as opposed to an entire week of work making $4,500. My average chain, I think right now runs about $3 to $4 for a bracelet. Mm-hmm. And we charge $55 to $65 right now. But my average sale is $98.37. So we're definitely upselling. We're selling 2 at a time. We're selling charms, things like that. Overall profit, I think we figured out was about $4,000. I thought for sure silver would be the thing, but gold filled has been really popular for me. I do have a couple gold chains and people look at them and go, these are nice. And then they're like, I want that one. They want the gold filled. The quality is there. The price point is right. People like that kind of middle ground, I think. I've also had a few people say, I think I want this in gold right now because it's summer and I'm tan, but I want the same chain in silver later. So I have people who are planning to come in to get one cut off to re-weld a different chain later, and they'll just hold on to them seasonally and we'll just re-weld them. So people price basically 2 different ways, right? They price by inch or they price by style, like a bracelet or an anklet or something. We do a hybrid. So all of our bracelets, gold filled, are one price. Anything, and that's anything, if it's an 8-inch, a 10-inch, it doesn't matter. It's a bracelet. We're just going to go with that. The average is 6 or 7 inches. So we're making money regardless. Mm-hmm. Anything, if it's an anklet, a necklace, anything else, is the base price of a bracelet plus a price per inch over 8 inches. So if the anklet's 9 inches, it might be the bracelet price plus 1 inch. But knowing your cost per inch for a chain is really important when you're looking at your pricing, so that you can go, hey, I want to make sure that we are covering, no matter what, the cost per inch of the highest charge chain, because everybody knows all the chains cost a little bit different, right? So our pricing is based on the highest cost per inch that we offer in gold filled, the highest cost per inch in silver. If you can, for an outdoor event, have your tent set up so that you don't have wind hitting you, because that was a problem. Our stands kept falling over and things like that. Have a sign that tells what you're doing. Our business is named Welded, and people are like, what's that? You know, so we very quickly went to Kinko's and printed out a sign that said permanent jewelry and then had the logo and information about it. So let people know what you're doing, because it is really trendy right now. But if people don't know that's what you're doing there, they just think you're sitting there with jewelry. Yeah. So you're missing that opportunity with people. Put it out there where you're going to be. That's something too, like tag the city you're in, that kind of stuff, because I didn't initially do that because I didn't know how much to promote somebody else's event that I was at. And then I started looking at it more like, well, it's my event too. I'm also there, which means it's my event and I can change the trajectory of how this business goes for the day if I put it out there. So now utilizing some of the same strategies that some of the strategies you taught is, telling people, this is my audience size. This is who I'm going to be promoting to. No one says no. No one says no. When I ask if I can do a pop-up somewhere and I'm like, I have an audience of roughly 3,500 people and an email list over 1,000. This is who I'm going to be telling about your events. Or your store, can I bring you some traffic? People are like, heck yeah, please do. Get your chains from a reputable source. Yeah. And Linked has great chains. From the very beginning, I have kept track of what chains people purchased so that I could keep track of what was going to be the most popular. And 2 days after an event, somebody said, my chain has tarnished and you said it wouldn't. And I just, again, took responsibility for it and said, you know what? We purchased from a new distributor that I hadn't worked with before. I am so sorry. I took them at their word. I didn't test the chain properly ahead of time. That's my fault. And then I did a recall on it. I told everybody who had that chain, I was like, hey, I'm so sorry this happened. Taking responsibility for it. If you'd like it replaced, let me know. You can come into the spa, which is our permanent home, and I will replace it at no charge. And everybody was just floored that we were doing that. So take responsibility, take ownership. It's your business. Make the right call, be ethical, and people will really respect it. Oh, this is so much easier. And I mean, part of it is just the trend, right? It's trendy, but the buy-in that's necessary and the interest in the market right now makes it, if you put the legwork in, if you put your brain behind it, you almost can't fail. I hate to say that, but it is, I mean, you could, but if you're doing what is out there, if you take Linked course and you learn the things and you keep learning and keep marketing yourself, it's very simple. Once I started sending out emails that said, hey, this is me, this is what I do, this is really trendy right now, this is my email list. It's a very simple email. I have not gotten a no yet for doing a pop-up. Where marketing spa services, you're competing with a massive amount of people, right? There is a beauty salon on every corner and then some. And a lot of times you're competing with big companies, big dollars, big franchises. That doesn't really exist in this industry yet. So you have a big opportunity without a massive level of competition yet.